wouldn't you Adam and Eve it? Beautiful sun when I was walking all the way down here to come fishing at Ashmoor Lakes today. And now, from the distance of walking across the field there, it's got windy, it's got overcast, and you know those clouds have rain in. Guess what, guys? I've got no umbrella, I've got no bivvy. All I've got is my pack-a-mac. Oh man. Oh well, it's going to be a wet one today, I think. But we shall see how it goes. Hopefully you can hear me through this little breeze that's going on. Lovely field of potatoes growing over there, look at that. Beautiful. That's lunch. I bought my cooker anyway. Anyway, as I say, you're here at Ashmoor Lakes today, near Basingstoke, just because I've got a few maggots left over from a previous fishing trip, and I'm going to throw them in, feed the fish up, hopefully catch a few, and just have a nice, relaxing, well, it was going to be a sunny day. See what we can get. It's a lovely mixed coarse fishery here, all sorts of different species. So I'm going to see what's in the margins here on Lake 1. Here's Lake 1. Just in the corner out the way from all the other anglers, they're all down that way. So I don't disturb them doing the videos. And yeah, see what we've got. Oh, as if by magic, just mentioning it, here comes the rain. Well, first things first, let's get the old pack-a-mac on. I just have those scissors. Now you put something down and it's gone. I'll sort it in a minute. I shouldn't have started recording whilst I was doing stuff. This is my problem. I'm getting too excited about getting a line in the water. Anyway, today is going to be just a nice little leisurely pleasurely. I've just got my float rod on, got one of my handmade floats on, just plumb the depth. And I'm just going to be fishing right tight close to the margins. Now I've chosen this swim on Lake 1 mostly because all the other anglers are down the other side of the lakes and I don't want to disturb them when I'm chatting to you guys. If I can help it. But also, if you look down by my feet, it's it's a recently disturbed swim. Ashmoor Lakes is owned by my family. And therefore me, haha. So we look after it, maintain it, come down and take the day tickets. My granddad is the main chap who's down here and takes the tickets, chats to the anglers for hours on end, tells them what's what, tells them off for not catching fish, or tells them off sometimes for catching fish. That's generally what I get. I get told off for catching too many fish and upsetting all the other anglers who haven't caught anything. But I have the bonus, of course, having fished this lake, well, all these lakes, ever since they were dug, so I've got a little edge on everyone else. Anyway, we recently dug in this swim. We put a metal sort of reinforcing wall in and filled it in because there are so many carp in these lakes that they undercut the banks quite a lot, and then the swims end up falling in. So we have to reinforce them for health and safety reasons, of course, to keep you anglers safe. Anyway, I thought that the recent digging and moving of this bank, rather than putting the fish off, is going to have stirred up the water a little bit. Bits are going to be falling in and stuff, and the fish might be encouraged into this area, well, rather than other places. Although, to be honest, at Ashmore, wherever you sit, it's always fantastic fishing. I'm biased, of course, but it's true. Put a bit of bait in, and along they come. As you can see, the rain's been on and off already. I'm going to get a good old soaking today, I think, on the sly. But the fish don't mind, and so why should I? Let's get going, shall we? I can't wait to get... well, I've got some maggots here somewhere. Yeah, here we are. I can't wait to get some maggots in there and start catching a few of the different species of fish that reside here. I'm not after any specific species of fish today. I'm just after whatever comes along. Oh, these are old maggots. They do smell a bit funky. That might hinder my chances today. They're a bit sweaty. But there's a few casters in there now, actually, which is quite handy. So I can always pop a few of them on if the fish. Oh, there's my scissors. They were down by my maggot tub. Found them eventually, so I can sort this hook out now. Cut the tag end off. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's get fishing. Right, in she goes. Dead on the spot. Best thing about fishing in the margins is you can bait up the swim perfectly, and then you can drop the bait exactly where you want it. Don't need to fish right out in the middle of the open. Well, you can, of course. There's plenty of fish out there milling around as well. You can see them all, especially on a warm day, basking out in the sun. The roach and the rudd and the... Oh, wasn't paying attention. Wasn't paying attention. That's my bad, that is. Got to pay more attention. And you can see them feeding out in the middle as well. You can see all the bubbles rising up to the surface. But the margins are always a good bet, and often a place where anglers forget to cast right down by their feet. So I'm fishing right down by my feet because of this disturbed swim, where bits are going to be, hopefully have been falling in, worms and all sorts of things during the digging. And hopefully the fish are going to be rooting around in all that fresh earth going in. And what they're going to find, if they do, is a few pellets, which I put in, just for smell, and my slightly manky maggots. What is the first fish going to be? That is the question. Shall I predict it? Shall I do a prediction? I'm going to say a perch. A little perch. I'm calling it. Of course I can edit this so that it's not a little perch. And then that way I'll always be right. But I'm an honest angler, and the first fish of the day was a little roach. So I was entirely wrong. Never mind. Can't win them all. Anyway, I'll tell you what, I'll disorganise that. I lost my scissors just then. And what I really need now is a disgorger. Not that it's taken it too far down. Rummages in bag. But it's always best to treat your catch as carefully as you can, especially on the unhooking. There we go. Whee, in you go, back in you go. Oh well, I was wrong, wasn't I? Shows what I know about my own fishing lakes. More maggots in. No doubt there will be a perch coming along at some point though. There's plenty in here, lots of little tiddly-tiddlies. And actually some really big chonkers as well. Winter fishing here is fantastic. Not many anglers come down in the winter, but there's some amazing roach fishing in the winter. And the perch fishing, well, if you want a £3 perch, this is the place to come and do it. Because there's not many, I'll be honest with you. But if you're lucky enough to find the area where they are, £3 is easily on the cards. Just use maggot. Just use maggot. That's my little tip. Stick a worm on, of course. But oddly enough, when I've been fishing here, the biggest perch I've ever caught from here has just come from one single solitary red maggot on a hook. As long as you keep the bait flowing in, they will come. Right, it's going to be a slow start. Literally just started to swim, and the weather is a bit iffy today. It's nice and sunny now. It's going to be one of those beautiful British days. Could be snowing in a minute, who knows? Anyway, let's catch a few little tiddlers out and see what different species we can get. Go. A beautiful little rudd, one of my favourite fish, and I know I say that a lot about all the fish are my favourite fish, but the rudd is easily in my top 5. In fact, it's usually like number 3 or number 4 between this and the gudgeon, of course, depending on what I'm catching at the time. But the rudd are gorgeous, beautiful red fins rudd have, easily distinguished by them. Quite a stocky little fish compared to like a roach or a dace. But of course, it's the mouth, if I can get him in focus, which really distinguishes the rudd. They're a surface feeding fish. They eat things from the top of the water, and because of that, their mouth points upwards so that they can swim along the top. Imagine the bank over there is the top of the water, and literally pick up little nom 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 things on the surface. Glorious, glorious rudd. Fantastic. Pop them back in. So why is the rudd so high up on my list of favourite coarse fish to catch? Well, firstly, of course, they're a beautiful fish. If you spend a bit of time to look at them, they are really, really beautiful. And the bigger they get, the more magnificent and beautiful they come. Big rudd and rudd fisheries where you can get decent rudd, like a hand-sized fish like that one, are actually fairly rare. Most fisheries are overtaken and just full of carp, and most people just really want to catch carp, which is a massive shame because they miss out on the joy of catching all the other species. So because of the rarity of a rudd, I really do enjoy catching them. And that beautiful golden colour, the little fight they give on the right size line and gear, of course. No good winding them in on massive barbel or carp rods. Nice fine line, fine gear. In the summer, of course, it's beautiful weather for catching rudd, and the weather's always nice. But the rudd always has a special place in my heart because it was the first ever species of fish I caught. Well, that's not entirely true. The first ever species of fish I caught were trout, but it was the first ever coarse species of fish that I caught. And unsurprisingly, it was from here at Ashmoor Lakes that I caught it. It's got a little perch. They always swallow the hook down, don't they? Do you find? Little tiny perch? That's why it's always important to carry a disgorger with you. When these lakes were first dug, which was many, many, many years ago, they were dug for me to be able to do a bit of fishing. Well, for me, and also the family, of course. There's 3 lakes here, and there was 3 lakes here back in the day. But what people who visit here now class as Lake 1, Lake 2, and Lake 3, the original lakes are Lake 1 and Lake 2. Lake 1 was which I'm fishing on now, was a trout lake. We put a load of rainbow trout in here, we grew them up and we ate them for ourselves, gave them to friends, and we caught them. Really, really good sport. Lake 2 was a circular lake, which still is Lake 2, with an island in the middle. And Lake 3 was a rectangular lake, which we called the breeding pond, which we had a lot of smaller fish in, which we used to breed up. Actually, in the end, it filled with rudd, little teeny tiny, stunted little rudd. And those were the 3 lakes. What people know as Lake 3 now was an area of woodland where, because underneath Ashmoor Lakes there are wells, springs, not wells, there are springs welling up, that's what I was going to say. Springs welling up from underground. And the area over there was always really boggy, as was the area here, which is why we decided to put the lakes on them. Because we knew that there'd always be water in here for the fish. Lake 3 was dug much later on when the fishery was open to the public. But before all of that, Lake 1, Lake 2 and Lake 3 were the original ones, before the new Lake 3 was dug, if you know what I mean. But when we opened the fishery, we dug the new Lake 3 and we put the old Lake 2 and Lake 3 into one big lake with 2 islands on. But before all of that, before it was all changed, a big bucket of fish went into Lake 2. And we had no idea what they were, what species they were. We had no idea about a fish and fishing at all. I was only a kid. I don't even know how old I was, certainly younger than 10 years old. And in the bucket of fish went, and we had no idea what they were. And we spent the rest of our time trying to figure out what they were. But of course, with rudd being a species of fish that enjoys basking on the surface, the rudd were the ones that we could see. They were the ones certainly that I could see, and they were certainly the ones I could target and catch. And so, just fishing very shallow under the surface, I used to tie a hook on with an overhand knot, and another overhand knot, and another overhand knot, because I didn't know any knots at the time. Whack on the 2-pound line, because that's all I used, because that's all I thought the fish were. And I used to just hook out rudd all day long, and it was fantastic. Just on a little bit of worm or a bit of sweet corn. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And ever since then, I've just had a real passion for rudd fishing. I'd love to catch a big rudd. I think my biggest rudd's only about 15 ounces, which I think is actually from here. There are some very big rudd in here, but there's so many fish, the chances of you catching them are quite slim. You'd have to come here quite a lot, I think, and have a lot of luck on your side. Or perhaps target them on the surface. I do that sometimes when it's really warm and the fish are up on the surface. I'll see a few rudd swimming around and flick a maggot right in front of their nose and catch them that way. But no, rudd, gorgeous fish. Oh, what have I hooked now? It's got a bit of kick to it. Interrupting my segment about rudd. Oh, what's this? What's this? Could be a bream. Could be a roach. Could be both, of course. Let's get the landing net in. It's landing net worthy. Oh, whilst you've interrupted, we'll have a look at you if you'll calm down for 5 minutes. Now, let's have a look. I'm going to say, because, whoops, careful with the camera, it's going to go flying. I'm going to say, because Ashmore has rudd and bream and roach, and rudd and bream and roach are all very closely related, same family, all very closely related. They breed at the same time and they crossbreed quite a lot, and they create a hybrid of whatever eggs and fertilization goes on. I'm going to say, though it looks like a bream with the top dorsal fin and that anal fin, I'm going to say this is a roach bream hybrid, mostly because of the mouth. Bream have a tubular mouth, which when they're feeding sort of scoops out and sucks on the bottom. Perhaps we catch a bream later, I'll show you. Of course, anyone who catches bream will know, but people who don't know. But yeah, I'm going to say this is a roach bream. It's got too much of a hint of roach about it. If you looked at the head, for example, you'd say, oh, look, a roach. But you look at the fins, definitely a bream. But the hybrids are great. I love hybrid fish. It's a shame they're not their own species, but not, of course, because... Oh, this fish just jumped out of water when I did that. Must be a few down there. But not a species, of course, because it could have 1% roach in it, 10% roach in it, 90% roach in it. You just don't know. But I find they do fight nice and hard. It was in the time before the fishery was open where I was catching all those rudd, where one day my very, very close friend Aaron, an everyday angler, decided he'd been reading some magazines. We knew nothing about fishing, remember. Many of you might say, I still don't know much about fishing, but still, I know more than I did. And he was like, why don't we use maggots? I've been reading about maggots in the Angling Times and the Angler's Mail. Let's get some maggots and try them on the rudd. Fantastic, because we got a pint of maggots. And it was at that time we finally discovered a different species, in fact 2 different species that were in the lakes the whole time. We had no idea they were there. One of which being the perch. Now, we used to catch little waspy perch like this all the time, but just imagine fishing these lakes for, I don't know, maybe a couple of years, and then suddenly discovering these little guys are in there, and they were in there the whole time. And lovely tench, lovely 2-pound tench. In you go, buddy. It was amazing. I still remember the very first tench I caught from here. Aaron was here at the time, and I just left the float in the margins, and it was just there, just doing its own thing, and it went under. And out came this fish, and initially we had no idea what it was. We're like, oh my god, what is it? Oh my god, it's a tench, it's a tench, oh my god. And I was screaming and shouting so hard that I did a full lap of the circle of the lake, just running. Oh, God, a tench, I can't believe it, a tench. And they'd been there the whole time. That's the craziest thing. And then, of course, fishing really picked up for us, because we were catching different species, not just the rudd, but also we found roach in here, because they were mostly on the bottom, the perch, the tench. Oh, it was fantastic. And we even had a couple of carp which had made their way from a family friend into the lakes. Nice big chunky ones as well. Probably coming up to sort of, I don't know, 8-10 pounds, something like that. this was a long time ago, they were impossible to catch, but we kept trying, But eventually, the fishery opened, we dug the lakes, we got it open, we stocked some more fish. But just before we did that, I went out and I bought some fish of my own. Some of you may curse me. I bought 50, no, that's wrong, that's a lie. I bought 45 Crucian carp and 50 Bream, like this one here with the classic fin. And if you pull the mouth down, of course, it's that tube-like mouth I was talking about earlier. It's like that. Yes, Bream. 50 Bream, that's the only Bream that's ever been put into Ashmoor Lakes, and anyone who has fished Ashmoor Lakes will know the sheer quantity of Bream that are in here. Loads and loads of little skimmers all day long, with all the hybrids and things that they produce as well. But, you know, they make good sport for anyone who's willing and wanting to catch them, especially during the winter months. And actually, on the slide, there's some fairly good Bream in here. They go up to like £4, something like that. You tend to have to fish a bit further out into the lake for them in the middle if you want the really big ones, I find. But little tiddlers will hang around in the margins. But I do enjoy a Bream, and it just adds to the mix of the fishery, doesn't it? So it can only be a good thing. Oh. Now, just before the fishery opened to the public, he says, whilst talking and wrestling a fish in the net. Oh, God, blimey, so slimy. Just before the fishery opened, we stocked the fishery with carp. Loads of carp. There's loads and loads. In the many years, I mean, it must be coming up for 20 years of Ashmoor Lakes being open to the public. The fish have been stocked and bred, and yeah, this is just one of them. Nice little mirror carp. Lovely fish. Pop him back in. He's got a lot of energy. So there's no time like the present to pop him back. Oh, go on. Doesn't want to leave the net now. Likes me. He likes me. Oh no, he doesn't. He's gone. Yeah, the carp were introduced very shortly before the fishery opened. And of course, that's when Ashmoor Lakes got its name. Before then, it was just the ponds, as we called it. We call it Ashmoor Lakes because it's set in Ashmoor Copse, which is what a piece of the land we own. It's where we dug them. And I think Ashmoor Lakes is a nice name. Mixed coarse fishery, very much so. All those fish in here, everyone was delighted to come down and start catching them. And we're delighted to see all the anglers turning up here because they feed our fish and make them bigger. Excellent. Anyway, there are a few more fish that's been stocked in here through the years, including Barbel, Chub. There's even a few stray goldfish in here which people have chucked in from their ponds at some point, or their fish tank where they've got bored of them. We've never introduced them, but they're in here. Same for golden orf. There's a few golden orf in here too, and a few golden rudd still. But yeah, it's truly a mixed fishery. You get all sorts of fish from here. No sign of any barbel yet today, but that might just be the way it is. But you never know. You keep fishing, keep trying, and you never know what's going to turn up at the end of the hook here. That's one of the most fantastic things about it. Ah, lovely. Anyway, the rain stopped for a little bit now. It's been on and off all day. I'm going to take a little bit of a break, I think, just for the moment. Have a little bit of a relax. I've been catching tons and tons of fish, more than I've shown on the camera here. Anyway, I feed up the swim after that carp just crashed through it, and see if we can get a few more little tiddlers out. Oh, yeah, that's better. Nice relax in the sun, although the sun's gone on a bit now. Weather's been typically British today, rain and sun and cloud and cold and warm and all over the place. Anyway, I think after my little relax, I'm going to take a little bit of time now just to see if I can catch the species of fish here that Ashmore is slowly becoming famous for, and that is the barbel. The still water barbel, no less. There's quite a few in here, so there's a good chance of me trying to get one. I've been baiting my swim up all day, so there's plenty of bait down there for them to have. Speaking of which, I haven't done that since I've had my rest, so I'll chuck a few maggots in and get the swim rolling again. I've got a few little tips and tricks to maybe winkle out a barbel through all the myriad of different species of fish here. A few pellets, soft hooker pellets, fishing really close into the margins, and a few other little tips and tricks which I've picked up. I'm not gonna give away on here. I don't want to make it too easy. Although this is a good swim for barbel, just saying. But having said all that, I probably won't catch one now. Well, it'd be nice to get one for the thumbnail, wouldn't it? Really nice to get a nice barbel. But yeah, I'm going to spend a bit of time trying to specifically focus on a particular species and see how that goes in such a mixed coarse fishery like this. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Let's see, shall we? Let's get back to it. Right, where's those soft hookers gone? Well, leaving the swim to rest for a little bit was a good idea, it seemed. Because guess what, guys? Got a little barbel. Here's a little one for Ashmoor Lakes standards. I'm over a net. I feel like he's going to jump any minute. Net is just there. Here we go. A lovely little fish. Wiry, a lot of power in a barbel. Particularly in a river, of course. Now, the barbel was stocked along with some chub. When some local lakes were having issues with the koi herpes virus, which kills a lot of carp. We were recommended by one of our stockists of fish that, you know, if we get it, it's going to decimate our carp population and the fishing will struggle for it. So one of the alternatives was to add in a few barbel because they're not affected by it. Let's pop him back into the water. Here we go. Gone. A lot of energy the barbel have. Now, it was controversial at the time because, of course, barbel and chub are river species of fish and they don't really belong in still waters. However, these barbel, when they were stocked, well, they were only like little teeny tiny things, and they were bred in captivity, in still water, never seen a river in their lives, and so they're fully used to the still water environment. Now, the barbel here have been thriving, and I mean thriving at Ashmore. We thought maybe the carp would, you know, keep them fairly small, but we've been getting barbel in here recently, actually, to £7, and these have all grown from little teeny tiny barbel on the food that's been going in here. In fact, there were only 2 stockings of barbel here in the same year. We did one in like February sort of time and one towards the end of the year. This is many years ago. Well, not many, I suppose about 10 years ago now, probably, something like that. 10, 12. Anyway, it doesn't matter. About that period of time. Get fixated on the dates. But they were all stocked in the same year, all about that size. So you'd think that all of the barbel would be roughly the same size themselves. However, you know, there are some about that sort of size and some which do go up to that magnificent 7-pounders. But little tiny ones still get caught, which is very unusual. You'd think barbel are used to breeding in rivers. That's where they breed. They don't breed in still water at all. But we've never stocked any more in. And yet, there are little teeny tiny barbel still swimming here. Not like stunted or anything. Little babies. So barbel breeding in still waters. So they've got to be good. Hold on. Wait a moment. It's just... Anyone's wondering about the breeding of the barbel, I was just on about. Look what's been left behind by that barbel. Literally just finished doing that segment and I looked down and I was like, oh my word, what's all this everywhere? Eggs. Look at that. Fantastic. Well, these guys might not be destined to be more barbel, but I'll tell you what they are going to be. Chuck that in there. Bait. Fantastic. Ah, oh, lovely. The Ashmoor Lakes barbel are indeed highly sought after, and it's very easy to see why when you hold a beautiful fish like this in your hands. Look at that. What a stunning fish. Absolutely amazing. Lovely. Love those maggots. I've been putting a few pellets in the margins along with the maggots, but I've been primarily using maggot on the hook. Mostly because the pellets I've got are a bit dry and they're not really staying on. I've got some soft hookers. but the barbel don't mind a few maggots, that's for sure. Fantastic. This fish is actually, what was it, 4 pounds 7 ounces when I weighed her. Grown from a little teeny tiny barbel into this beautiful beast. Beast? That's a bit unfair, isn't it? Not a beast at all. But fantastic. I think barbel have every place in a still water fishery. And there's certainly a good tonic if when during the close season the rivers are closed and you can't target them, you can still target them from lakes like these. Anyway, let's pop you back into the water. Hard to stop admiring them sometimes, isn't it? But your place is back in the water. Mwah. Thank you very much. Let's pop you back. I was just thinking of going home, guys. Good job I didn't go immediately, isn't it? Look at this. A fantastic Ashmoor Lakes barbel that we're specialising in nowadays, I think, the barbel. What a fantastic fish. Gorgeous. Beautiful out of river, of course, but equally beautiful out of a fantastic lake like this. Ah, gorgeous, gorgeous fish. I say gorgeous a lot, don't I, in these videos, but when you see something like that, what else is it? Stunning, beautiful, magnificent. You are all of them, my friend. You are all of them. Probably about 3 or 4 pound. Lovely fish. Anyway, let's pop you back into the water. In fact, you can come with me. Come on. Let's have a little walk. There's Grandad over there, look, collecting the money. Turned up just at the right time for me to do a bit of filming, he did. He's like, I'll leave you to it. I said, yeah, you good. Anyway, here he is in the water. Let him rest up a bit. Barbel put a lot of energy into the fight, and I do like to let them rest in the net for a little while before I release them. Even more so in a still water, because they need to get that air through their gills and get them back into it. So he's going to sit in the net here just for a little while whilst I talk to you guys, and probably, actually, finally say goodbye. I've had a lovely, it's only been a few hours here at Ashmore, and I've caught loads of fish. I've caught rudd and roach and perch and what else have I had? Oh, carp, of course, and barbel. Some hybrids. Oh, he's just starting to do a bit of a kick in. No, you sit there for a bit, you'll find a little bit longer. I don't trust you just yet. I don't want you going belly up. It's been a rainy day, but it's been quite warm today. So let them rest, let them rest. Thank you very much anyway for joining me, the passionate Piscator here at Ashmoor Lakes, and listening to me ramble on about my fishery and how much I love it, because I genuinely do. Give this video a like, subscribe to my channel for more content. There's plenty more content here at Ashmoor Lakes. This is just the perfect place for me to come down to and fish, isn't it? But there's loads of other venues I visit too, rivers and ponds and streams and pools and all sorts of things. And I will see you again next time on the bank, maybe cradling another lovely barbel like this one. Anyway, I'm going to spend a bit of time releasing this fish, and I will see you again next time on the bank. Bye!